1 month ago tonight, the city of Charlotte pulled every speed detection device from the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. That happened after a city whistleblower asked Queen City News for help. He uncovered what he believed was proof the city didn't follow state law in its annual radar certifications. Turned out he was right. Here's Chief Investigator Jody Barr with Under the Radar, a Queen City News investigation.
We believe this issue started as an incorrect interpretation of the requirements back in 2008 and has become a standard practice.
For 15 years, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department trusted the city's radio shop to test and certify the accuracy of the department's radar and lidar units. A trust broken just last month.
In August, I was accused of doing the work incorrectly.
The truth revealed by Charlotte radio technician Tony Torres.
We would do the testing, put the forms on their desk. If they happened to be in the office, they would sign them the same day. If not, they might come in a week later and sign a stack of documents saying that they had personally subjected the equipment, which wasn't the case.
North Carolina law requires all law enforcement agencies to test radar and lidar units once each year and to file this form showing the person who performed the test holds a license through the FCC, something required by state law and clearly stated on the form. But Torres says the city's unlicensed radio techs were the ones testing and certifying the units, while FCC licensed supervisors were signing the forms, claiming to have performed the work.
So I called the North Carolina Department of Justice Standards Division and talked to the head person there and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Can you explain to me, you're the ones that write these forms up? Is this what your intent was when we do the testing? And he said, well, no. He says, if our understanding is if you're doing the testing, that you have a license and whoever signs that form is the one doing the testing. I said, well, that's not how that works here. And he said, well, who do you work for? And at the time, of course, I said, City of Charlotte. And his reaction was like, wow.
Torres contacted us in January, days after the city fired him. He claimed the city's radar certification records would show not a single city radio technician signed any of those forms. We checked Torres's claims, first by running the names of every city radio tech through the FCC's license database. We found the only licensed tech was Tony Torres, but he didn't become licensed until last October, just 2 months before he was fired. The FCC shows 2 supervisors, James Michael Finger and Ernest Stevenson, have the FCC license required to certify the units. However, Torres says although his supervisors signed off on nearly every annual certification, they didn't actually perform the work.
So I brought that up in my defense. Hey, you're accusing me of falsifying a document that I'm not certified to sign or even do the testing for. This was a letter I received saying that I was terminated based on falsification of state documents.
We filed open records requests on January 26th, asking the city for all radar certifications from its radio shop. A couple of weeks later, the city called a news conference, admitting to the public the exact thing Tony Torres says he spent months warning his bosses about.
Because on January 31st, it was discovered that the annual accuracy testing done by this Public Safety Communication Division for some of CMPD's speed measuring instructional instruments were not performed in accordance to the state legislation.
The city gave us 512 certifications for the past 5 years. Those records show the city's radio shop certified radar and lidar units for CMPD, the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, and Matthews Police. Of the 512 certifications, the radio shop's 2 supervisors signed off on 506 forms. The remaining 6 were certified by the radar manufacturer. Do you really know, and will you ever know, the true cost in dollars to taxpayers of everything that's laid out here?
I don't, and it would be difficult to estimate.
The day before going public, the city notified Mecklenburg County District Attorney Spencer Merriweather about what was uncovered in the city's radio shop.
So I wish that we weren't here, and yet we are here and having to make some difficult choices in the name of truth. So I get it, doesn't mean that I'm happy about it.
And as a prosecutor, having to, and I hate to say it this way, but having to lose this way, That's got to not feel good.
Well, it's not just about the DA's office losing. Community loses when we're not able to proceed on these cases in the way that we intend because of a technicality.
The DA says his office doesn't know even a month later how many tickets it dismissed or how many others may be at risk. Is it impossible to go back from day one 15 years ago and make sure that if people got a ticket then that they deserved it and the radar, lidar units were in compliance?
It is virtually impossible.
Part of the reason, the DA says most of those court records don't exist any longer.
Without the records, which usually are purged from our clerk's office, sometimes anywhere from 3 to 5 years after the case has been closed, those cases cannot be found, which means that information which would permit a lawyer who wanted to look into one of those older cases to see whether or not an officer relied on lidar or radar, they couldn't do it.
Merriweather admits there could come a day when the city's certification problem sets someone free who shouldn't be. What's your biggest fear in all of this?
My biggest fear is every time that there is an issue involving a proceeding in the justice system, every time that we are faced with the challenge of doing something in a case that's based not really on its merits, not based on whether or not somebody did it, not based on whether or not it was a threat to public safety, but because of what some people would define as a mistake or a technicality.
And meaning because of this, there may be cases that you would have never in a million years dismissed, but you may be forced into that position.
That's correct.
Why do we even have a certificate? Why do we even have FCC licensure? Someone must have thought there's a good reason for that. And I assume it's based on training and following certain protocols.
Bill Powers spent 30 years battling the prosecutor's office in traffic court. He says these forms are considered evidence, something judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, even law enforcement have relied upon for decades.
It's not just a minor technical violation in my mind that can just be ignored. My question is, what's the next step, to make sure this doesn't happen in the future? And the next question is, what are we going to do to determine, did this in fact affect people and affect them adversely? And we don't know. It's so relied upon that we don't even really ever look at these forms anymore. No one in the system looks at the forms.
The city of Charlotte now admits for the past 15 years these forms were not handled correctly.
This is my letter from recommendation and termination.
And if not for a whistleblower, this could have continued.
I mean, rather than say, hey, we got it wrong, we didn't really fully understand the nature of this, but then to go after the person that said you're doing it wrong, personally, that really is bothersome.
Powers says the irony in all this isn't lost on the public, and recertifying units doesn't make this all go away. Government is enforcing a law, and in this case, government failed to follow the law.
Yeah, that probably sticks in a lot of people's craw. And when you don't follow the regs as a government person, that really causes a lot of distrust. I mean, it feels like, well, if they're not going to follow the rules, why should I? I know that's a false equivalency, but it's also one that is understandable.
The city's internal investigation into how this happened, who allowed it to happen, and how to prevent it from ever happening again continues. Could the people signing off on these forms that they did the work who in reality did not do the work, is there any trouble in store for people in that scenario?
I'm not prepared to answer that one right now. There are some ethical obligations that I have to make sure that if I'm going to charge somebody, I'd better be ready to say it with an indictment or with some other criminal process. What I can tell you is that I haven't seen anything as of yet in the area of criminal intent that would merit me asking for a criminal investigation. If that changes, I'll certainly offer that information to the public, but right now I'm not yet there.
The city confirmed it suspended 2 supervisors days after this investigation broke last month. Radio shop supervisor James Finger was suspended for 3 days. Supervisor Ernest Stevenson suspended 5. The city had to pay 2 outside vendors to recertify around 200 radar and lidar units. 1 month into this, the city still doesn't know what the recertification will cost taxpayers. A written report on the internal investigation into what we uncovered is expected before the end of this month. Another change the city made in all of this, Every radio tech is now required to be FCC licensed, and any new hire will have to be licensed within a year of joining the city. After 6 weeks with no paycheck, Tony Torres went back to work at the radio shop 2 weeks ago. He says because he financially had to.